my December 2021 Bard stream, you all helped me create a concept for a creature. We built a monster together live on the stream. After the stream, I took the concepts and all the notes that I took down, and I developed them into the Eldritch Golem. And it's done now. I've just published it on my Patreon page. I'm going to put a link down in the video description below where you can go and get a free copy of my current newsletter that has the stats and the lore and the art that I did for the Eldritch Golem, so you can use it in your own games, and you can have a piece of this incredible thing that you all helped me to create. If you are a Lore Keeper subscriber on my Patreon page, there is additional content in the newsletter as usual, and I do encourage everyone or welcome everyone to become a patron of mine, because it does get you additional content every single month, monsters or NPCs, bigger maps. There's just a lot more that you get to reap in terms of rewards, and the support that you show to me. Not only am I incredibly grateful for, but it helps me to continue to create the content that I do make, both on YouTube, on Patreon, and other writings and projects that I do. There are going to be some additional updates or add-ons to my Patreon coming in the near future, so look out for that here coming up, hopefully within the next few months. So let's dive into the Eldritch Golem. I'm happy to show it off here. Heavy and hulking, the thing lumbers, with the odd gait of a deformed brute. Its bulk is composed of stony chunks, like the accumulated rubble of a ruined temple from an alien realm. Wherever light hits the pale stone, it takes on an otherworldly yellow-green tinge. From the hollow eye cavities of its statue-like face glare points of that same strange luminescence. From the wreckage of aberrant temples, golems are constructed from different kinds of materials, from more common substances such as stone or clay to more esoteric ones. Among the rarest and strangest of compositions is the Eldritch Golem, which is formed from the fragments of temples to outer gods. Such alien shrines exist in hidden, misbegotten locales, far from the bounds of civilization. They lie in such ruin that it is difficult to imagine them ever standing in a state of sound repair. Indeed, the geometry of the architecture cannot exist within the material plane, nor hardly any other plane for that matter, for it was not fashioned to obey the laws that hold together the waking world. Only in fevered dreams could one behold the true form of such temples. A golem fashioned from this bizarre rubble appears at first to be a misshapen stone golem, but those who do battle with it quickly find themselves assaulted by more than just bludgeoning fists. Aberrant madness emanates from the Eldritch Golem, filling subjects with compulsions and delusions, or even bringing them into contact with the creature's fell master. In addition, the golem can strike from a range of some 20 yards, lashing out with an incorporeal tendril that strikes foes with excruciating force and flings their weapons and implements away. A variant construction process, deviant and mad. A typical golem is animated with an elemental spirit that the master binds to the constructed body. When a mage crafts an Eldritch Golem, he sacrifices a tiny portion of his own sanity in order to bind an aberrant spirit to the physical form. The body is a collection of temple fragments, sculpted and fused with alchemical substances, and the animating force brings to it powers and influence from beyond the planes. It is as though a momentary hole is punctured through reality, and the alien substance that leaks through is captured into a container, this eerie guardian.
Eons of the realm beyond lived and died in countless times before the first mortal mind gained consciousness in the world. As the primordial eye cracked to behold the cosmos, fathomless spans compressed into a single moment. What once was infinite came screeching into a flattened pane. The great spiral became a disk. What once was boundless ruptured into a plasmic burst. The formless became a fusillade of stars. When the primitive humans ventured out and discovered hushed valleys beyond the mountains, they came upon the ruins of unknown temples to unknown gods of that outer, incoherent space. Lurching columns and twisted slabs lay in heaps, the result of impossible geometries collapsing under the force of the world's new laws. Images gazed from stony faces and bewildered those tender psyches. Runic script lit fires in their minds, compelling the urges to written craft, to experimentation, to debate. Being and instinct became entangled with philosophy and alchemy. Oh, what simple brutes we might have been, had not shocking discovery jolted us out of our stupor. Mortimer Vanderkirk, Origins and Outer Realms. Turning now to the stat block of the Eldritch Golem. It is a large-sized construct, unaligned, with an armor class of 18, 189 hit points, and a speed of 30 feet. It is a strong and tough creature, though not dexterous, nor intelligent, nor charismatic. Its wisdom is average. Like many constructs, it has a number of damage immunities, poison, psychic, and as well as bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from attacks that are not magical nor adamantine. It's also immune to certain conditions: charmed, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, and poisoned. It has 120 feet of dark vision. It understands the languages of its creator, but it cannot speak. It has a challenge rating 13. Like most other golems, it is immutable. It cannot be altered in its form. It is also resistant to magic. It gains advantage against spells and other magical effects, and its own weapons are considered magical. As an action, it can make 2 melee slam attacks with a plus 10 to hit, dealing 3d8 plus 6 bludgeoning damage per hit. Alternatively, it can use an Eldritch Tendril, which is a ranged spell attack with a plus 9 to hit, a range of 60 feet, targeting one creature, and on a hit, dealing 5d10 of force damage. And if the creature is holding an object, it must succeed on a DC 17 strength saving throw, or the object is flung to a square of the golem's choice within 60 feet of it. Its most signature ability, we could say, is its madness, which requires a recharge roll of 5 through 6 once it has been used. The golem emits a magical field of maddening patterns, and each creature within 30 feet of it must succeed on a DC 17 wisdom saving throw or be affected by the madness. Roll 1d6 to determine which madness affects a creature. A creature that is currently suffering from an Eldritch Golem's madness does not make the saving throw again. It cannot be affected more than once at a time. At the end of an affected creature's turns, it repeats the saving throw, ending the madness effect on itself. However, if a creature fails its third consecutive saving throw against madness, it no longer repeats the saves, and the madness lasts until it is somehow cured. A creature that's immune to psychic damage cannot be affected by the madness. Dispel magic can remove it, though it has to be as though dispelling a 5th level spell. Greater Restoration can immediately cure an affected creature. The 6 different madness effects are as follows. 1. Mad Rune Reading. You see bizarre runes everywhere you look. As an action on each of your turns, you can attempt a DC 15 Intelligence Arcana check. On a success, you gain advantage on your next attack roll and your next saving throw. At the end of each of your turns, if you did not make any intelligence check that turn, you take 3d6 psychic damage. The damage cannot kill you, though if it reduces you to 0 hit points, it makes you stable. If you are unconscious, the damage is not going to continue happening. 2. Dither Spell. Whenever you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, 1 bonus action, or 1 reaction, roll a d20. If the result is 10 or lower, you must randomly determine which spell you cast from amongst your available spells that have the same casting time as the intended spell. If a randomly determined spell cannot be cast, such as there's no target within the spell's range, the spell slot is wasted. If you cannot cast spells, this madness effect immediately changes to another one. 3. Terrifying Hallucinations. Disturbing visual and auditory hallucinations assault you, imposing disadvantage on all your ability checks. At the start of each of your turns, roll 1d20. On a result of 10 or lower, the only action you can take this turn is dodge, as you attempt to protect yourself from a hallucinatory threat. 4.
the master's psychic link. Your mind psychically links with that of the golem's master. It becomes aware of your identity and precise location, and it can communicate with you telepathically. The master can use detect thoughts and suggestion on you once per day each via this psychic link. If you are under the effects of non-detection, however, that negates the psychic link for the duration of non-detection. 5. Phantasm. An incorporeal creature appears within 10 feet of you. It is a wicked phantasm spawned by the darkest recesses of your mind. Its statistics are identical to a wraith, but it is invisible to all creatures except you. You're the only one that sees this strange thing. It takes its turn directly after yours, and it seeks to harm only you, though it will harm others if it's necessary in order to reach you. As an action, the phantasm can teleport to within 60 feet of you, even across planes. If the phantasm is reduced to 0 hit points, the madness ends on you. If the madness ends by another means before then, the phantasm disappears. 6. Missing limb delusion. You believe that one of your limbs, determined randomly, does not exist. You cannot use that limb in any way, and you have disadvantage on ability checks, saving throws, and attack rolls that normally would involve the use of that limb in some way. If you believe that you are missing a leg, you move at half speed, i.e. you can hop along, crawl, walk with a crutch. Creatures that have several limbs, such as spiders, are not impeded by this madness effect, and neither are creatures with no limbs, such as snakes. So, a strange, eerie, unsettling, and maddening golem, as well as a powerful creature in physical combat, like all golems are. It's a complex monster, to be sure. It might be something that you would want to run either by itself, with others of its same type, or with simpler creatures that are not going to be very taxing on you. Unless you're feeling ambitious, then go ahead and put it along with some other more complex creatures. It's certainly more complex than the typical golems that you're used to seeing in the bestiaries of D&D, such as the iron golem, stone golem, etc. Well, I'm very happy with how this turned out. I think it's a fantastic and interesting monster to run in combat, and as well, I hope that some of the lore in there works for you to put in some adventure hooks or flesh out part of an adventure, or maybe you can even use that NPC, good old Mortimer Vonderkirk. He also has a couple of quotes in my book, Esper's Emporium of Esoterica. He is a scholar of forbidden lore and strange knowledge. I'll also put a link down in the video description if you're interested in getting a copy of my book. It has a bunch of content in there, from monsters to player content and beyond. So thank you all for helping me put together this creature. I could see myself doing another live stream in which we conceptualize and build up the concepts for a monster live together. I think that was a really interesting way of creating this thing. Had fun. It was an interesting challenge for me. Well, I'll leave you with that. Enjoy the monster, and until next time, may your adventures be many.